Chapter 14. Now, Harry, Ron, and Hermione respect Professor Quirrell more. When other students laugh at Quirrell, they tell them to stop. They are happy that Professor Quirrell didn't tell Snape about the dog, but how long can Professor Quirrell stop Snape? They don't know. When Harry, Ron, and Hermione go around the third floor, they always listen to the door and check Fluffy. Fluffy is still there and the stone is safe. Hermione is now worried about the exams. She's studying so much. Hermione, exams are in 10 weeks, says Ron. Only 10 weeks, says Hermione. It's like a second to Nicholas Flamel. But we're not 600 years old, Ron says. Why are you studying so much? You're going to get A. Everyone knows it. Why am I studying so much? Says Hermione. Are you crazy? We have to pass these exams. If we can't pass them, we won't get in the second grade. Unfortunately, teachers are thinking like Hermione. They are giving students so much homework. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are in the library. Suddenly, Ron says, Hagrid, what are you doing in the library? Just looking for something, says Hagrid. He hides something behind his back and he looks nervous. Now, they are interested in Hagrid even more. What are you doing here? Asks Hagrid. You aren't looking for Nicholas Flamel, are you? Oh, we know him now, says Ron proudly. We now know about the dog. It's guarded in the Sorcerer's Stone. Shh, says Hagrid. He looks around. Stop shouting about it. What's wrong with you? We want to ask you a few things, Hagrid, says Harry. What's guarded in the stone other than Fluffy? Shh, says Hagrid. Listen, come to my house today. I'm not promising that I will tell you. Don't talk about it in the school. Students mustn't know it. See you later, says Harry. Hagrid walks away. What was he hiding behind his back? Asks Hermione. Do you think it has something to do with the stone? Which section was he in? Says Ron. I'm going to check it. A few minutes later, he comes back with many books. Dragons, says Ron. Hagrid was reading about dragons. Hagrid always wanted to have a dragon, says Harry. He told me about it when we met for the first time. But it's against the law, says Ron. We can't hide dragons from muggles. Also, dragons are really dangerous. You should see Charles Burns. He has many of them because of the dragons. Is there any wild dragon in Britain? Asks Harry. Of course, says Ron. What does Hagrid want? Says Hermione. When they reach Hagrid's house, they are surprised because all the curtains are closed. They knock on the door. Who is it? Says Hagrid. When he sees them, he lets them in. It's really hot in his house. It's really a warm day outside, but Hagrid started fire in his house. You wanted to ask me something? Says Hagrid. Yes, says Harry. Please tell us, Hagrid, what is guarded in the stone other than Fluffy? Hagrid looks at Harry and he doesn't look happy. Of course I can't tell you, says Hagrid. Number one, I don't know it myself. Number two, you guys know too much already. That stone is at Hogwarts for a good reason. Someone tried to steal it from Gringotts. I think you already understood that. How do you even know about Fluffy? I don't understand that. Oh, come on, Hagrid, says Hermione. I understand that you don't want to tell us, but we know that you know everything around Hogwarts. They can see that Hagrid is smiling proudly. What is guarded in the stone other than Fluffy? Who did that? We only want to know that. Who does Dumbledore trust other than you? I guess it's not going to hurt if I tell you about it, says Hagrid. He got Fluffy from me. Other teachers also did some protections. Professor Sprout, Professor Flitwick, Professor McGonagall, Professor Quirrell, of course, Professor Dumbledore, and someone else. Who is it? I can't remember. Professor Snape. Snape? Yeah, do you still think that Snape wants to steal it? He helped Dumbledore. He did one of the protections. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are all thinking the same thing. If Snape did the protection, it's easy for him to find information about other teachers' protections. Now he doesn't know only about Professor Quirrell's protection. How do you go past Fluffy? Only you know about it, right, Hagrid? Says Harry nervously. You're not going to tell anyone, even teachers, right? No one knows it. Only I and Professor Dumbledore know it, says Hagrid proudly. Okay, says Harry. Hagrid, can we open the windows? I'm boiling. Can't, Harry. Sorry, says Hagrid. Hagrid nervously looks at the fire and Harry sees it. Hagrid, what is that? Hagrid doesn't have to answer. Harry sees that there is a black egg in fire. How? This is, says Hagrid. Hagrid, where did you get it? Says Ron. It's also expensive. Want it, says Hagrid. Last night I was drinking beers and someone asked me to play cards with them. I won and got this egg. I think he was happy to give it to someone. But what are you going to do with it when a dragon comes out of this egg? Asks Ron. I'm reading about dragons, says Hagrid, about their food and everything. My dragon is Norwegian Reachback. They're rare. Hagrid looks really happy, but Hermione doesn't. Hagrid, you live in the wooden house, says Hermione. But Hagrid doesn't listen to her. He's singing happily and looking at the egg. Now they have something else to worry about. Hagrid. What's going to happen if someone knows about Hagrid's dragon? It's illegal. I just want to have a peaceful life, says Ron. Few days later, on breakfast, Hedwig brings Harry a letter from Hagrid. There are only two words. It's hatching. Ron doesn't want to go to his lessons. He wants to go to Hagrid right now. But Hermione doesn't let him. Hermione, how many times are we going to see it in our lives? The dragon's egg is hatching. We will be in trouble if we don't go to our classes, says Hermione. Also, Hagrid will be in even bigger trouble if someone knows about his dragon. Shut up, says Harry. Malfoy is really close to them. He stopped walking when Hermione spoke. How much did he hear? Harry thinks. Hermione doesn't let them skip their classes, so after they finish their lessons, they quickly go to Hagrid's house. Hagrid is looking really excited. It's almost out, Hagrid says. The egg is on the table. They could see that something is moving inside it. Soon, the baby dragon comes out of the egg. Isn't it beautiful? Says Hagrid. Hagrid touches it with his finger and the baby dragon bites it. Look, he knows his mommy, says Hagrid happily. Hagrid, how fast do dragons grow? When Hagrid opens his mouth to answer, he sees something and looks shocked. He runs to the window. What is the matter? Says Ron. Someone was looking through the window. It was a student. He's running back to school. Harry quickly goes out and sees. It's really dark, but Harry knows that the student, Malfoy, just saw the dragon. Next week, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are really nervous because Malfoy is smiling all the time. They go to Hagrid and meet him. Just let him go, Hagrid, says Harry. I can't, says Hagrid. He's too little. He will die if I let him go. They look at the dragon. It's now 3 times bigger and he was born only a week ago. I decided to call him Norbert, says Hagrid. He really knows me. Watch. Norbert, Norbert, where's Mommy? He really lost his mind, Ron whispers to Harry. Hagrid, Harry says loudly. After 2 weeks, it will be bigger than your house. Malfoy could tell Dumbledore right now. I know that I can't keep him here forever, but I can't let him go now. I can't. Harry suddenly looks at Ron. Charlie, says Harry. You're also losing your mind, Harry, says Ron. I'm Ron, remember? No, Charlie, your brother, Charlie, in Romania. He's studying dragons, right? We could send Norbert to him. Charlie can take care of him. Brilliant, says Ron. How does it sound, Hagrid? In the end, Hagrid agrees with them. Harry and Hermione are sitting in the Gryffindor room. It's almost midnight. There are only Harry and Hermione. All other students already went to bed. Suddenly, the door opens and Ron comes in. He went to Hagrid and helped him. It bit my hand, says Ron. I can't write anything for a week. That dragon is a monster, but Hagrid looks at it like a baby. When it bit me, Hagrid was angry at me. He said that I scared the dragon. There's a tap on the window. It's Hedwig, says Harry. She's bringing Charlie's answer. 3 of them read the letter together. Dear Ron, how are you? Thanks for the letter. I will be happy to take Norwegian Reachback, but it won't be easy to take him. My friends will come and visit me next week and you can give it to them. No one must see them when they are carrying an illegal dragon. Could you bring the reach back to the tallest tower at midnight on Saturday? My friends can meet you there and take the reach back. Send me an answer quickly. Love, Charlie. They look at one another. We have the invisibility cloak, says Harry. I think the cloak is big enough. It can cover two of us with Norbert. Hermione and Ron agree with them. There is one problem. Next morning, Ron's hand is so bad and it's almost twice bigger. Now it's turning green. Ron has to go to hospital. Harry and Hermione visit Ron after the lessons. Ron is not happy. It's not just my hand, says Ron. Malfoy told Madame Pomfrey that he was my friend and he wanted to borrow some books from me. He came here and laughed at me. He said that he might tell Madame Pomfrey about the dragon. Don't worry, says Hermione. It'll be over at midnight on Saturday. Saturday? Oh no, says Ron. Charlie's letter was in my book. Now Malfoy knows about our plan. Harry and Hermione couldn't talk about it with Ron because Madame Pomfrey comes in at that moment and tells them to leave the room. We can't change our plan now, Harry tells Hermione. We don't have time to send a new letter to Charlie. We have to do it now. We may not get another chance. We have the invisibility cloak. Malfoy doesn't know about it. They go to Hagrid. When they knock on the door, Hagrid comes out. He doesn't let them in because Norbert is too big and too dangerous. When they tell Hagrid about Charlie's letter, Hagrid almost cries. They walk back to Hogwarts. They think that Saturday might be too late. It's time to take Norbert. It's cloudy, dark day. Hagrid already put Norbert in the box. I put his teddy bear in the box, says Hagrid. He can play with it if he is bored. Harry doesn't think Norbert is going to play with Teddy Bear because he can already hear that Norbert is biting Teddy's hand off. Bye-bye, Norbert, says Hagrid and cries. Mommy will never forget you. Harry and Hermione cover themselves and box with the invisibility cloak. Norbert is so heavy, it's really difficult for them to carry him up to the tower. Almost there, says Harry. Then he hears something. It's Professor McGonagall. She's pulling Malfoy's ear. 20 points from Slytherin, says Professor McGonagall. Walking around in the middle of the night? What are you doing? You don't understand, Professor, says Malfoy. Harry Potter is coming here. He has a dragon. Nonsense, says Professor McGonagall. You're lying to me. I'm going to tell Professor Snape about you, Malfoy. A few moments ago, Norbert was so heavy, but now Norbert doesn't seem heavy to Hermione and Harry. They go to the top of the tower easily. Malfoy lost points. I want to sing now, says Hermione. Don't, says Harry. About 10 minutes later, 4 broomsticks come. Charlie's friends are really friendly. Harry and Hermione shake hands with them, and soon they fly away with Norbert. Now Harry and Hermione are so happy. No dragon, Malfoy lost points. Nothing is going to stop their happiness. When they go down, they forget their invisibility cloak at the tower. When they're going back to the Gryffindor room, they hear someone. What are you doing here? Says he. It's Filch. You are in a big trouble.